Okay, so now we're gonna crochet the arms. This is actually the second time I'm filming this because the first time I filmed it, something happened and didn't work. So if you notice that my nails are different, it's because it's like 2 weeks later, that's why. So now we're gonna film the arms, now we're gonna crochet the arms, and we need to start with our cream colored yarn. So what we're gonna do is wrap the yarn around our finger to make a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 4. So we chain 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to slip stitch into the first chain to join them together to make a loop. Now in the center of this loop, we're going to single crochet 6. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now in this next round, we're going to do an increase round, and we're going to increase from 6 to 9. So in this first stitch, we single crochet 1. In the next stitch, we single crochet 2 and increase for 3. So we're increasing on every multiple of 3. Next is 4, 5, and in the same stitch, increase for 6. Next is 7, 8, and increase for 9. So now we've increased to 9, and we're going to do 25 rounds of just single crocheting continuously around. So what I like to do is just put my tail through so that I can have a stitch marker and just single crochet continuously around for 25 rounds until I can count 25 up from this stitch marker. So just single crochet 1 around for 25 rounds. Okay, so I've come to the end of my 25 rounds, and now I'm going to do a decrease round, and we're going to decrease from 9 to 8. So we're only going to decrease 1 time. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet for 3 stitches, decrease on 4 and 5, and then single crochet for another 4 stitches. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 are decreased together. 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we're going to single crochet for another 3 rounds until we have 24 stitches. So just single crochet continuously around until you have 24 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 23, and 24. And we are all done, so we're going to slip stitch and then cut kind of a long tail because we're going to use this tail to stuff the arm. Okay, so we got the first part of the arm done, and you don't have to stuff it a lot, it just like a little bit so that it's still kind of loose is fine. All right, and so now we're going to make the sleeve for her arm. Okay, so starting with our blue yarn, we are going to make a slip knot. And we're going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I've just chained 15, and now I'm going to slip stitch into this first chain. So I'm going to wrap it around and make sure that the chain doesn't twist, because you don't want your chain to get going in the wrong direction. And we slip stitch. And now we are going to single crochet 1 in each chain. So we're going to single crochet 15. And we're going to do that for 2 rounds. So we single crochet 15 for 2 rounds for 30 single crochets. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to single crochet up to 27 single crochets, because right at that point we're going to incorporate our dark gray yarn. So I'm going to single crochet up until I have 27 stitches. So I have 1, 2. Okay, so I've just single crocheted 27, and at this point I'm going to take my dark gray yarn and I'm going to start to incorporate it so that I can get ready to change colors. Okay, so now I have 28, 29, and for 30 I'm going to pull my blue yarn through, but I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops with my gray yarn, and I've just changed colors. So now we're going to keep single crocheting 15, and we're going to single crochet 15 for 5 rounds, and that's for a total of 75 stitches. So we just go and crochet continuously around for 5 rounds. Okay, so I've just come to the end of my 5 rounds, and now we're going to do some decrease rounds. And normally I would say that we like to decrease on multiples, but this time it's going to be a little bit difficult, just because we're only going to be doing 1 decrease per, and there's not exactly a great number of stitches for a perfect multiple or anything like that, so I'm just going to tell you exactly what to do, and we're just going to decrease like that. So in this first round, we're going to single crochet 6, decrease, and then single crochet 7. So we're going to single crochet 6, 7, and 8 will be decreased together, and then the other 7 are single crochets. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8. Oopsies. 7 and 8 are decreased together. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now we're going to do another decrease round, and we're going to single crochet 6, and then 7 and 8 are going to be decreased together, and then we're going to single crochet another 6. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8 are decreased together. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So we just decreased from 14 to 13 stitches. Now we're going to do another decrease round, and we're going to decrease from 13 stitches down to 12 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 5, then 6 and 7 are decreased together, and then the next 6 stitches up to 12 are single crocheted. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7 are decreased together. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we just decreased from 13 stitches down to 12 stitches. Now we're going to do another decrease round, and we're going to decrease from 12 stitches to 11 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 5, then 6 and 7 are decreased together, and then we're going to single crochet another 5. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6 and 7 are decreased together. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we just decreased from 12 stitches to 11 stitches. Now we're going to decrease from 11 stitches down to 10 stitches. So we're going to single crochet 4, decrease on 5 and 6, and then 7 up to 11 are single crochet. So we single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6 are decreased together. 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So now we should have 10 stitches. So now we're going to single crochet 1 in each stitch for 2 rounds, which would be 20 stitches. But after that, we're going to change to blue. So I'm actually going to single crochet up to 17 stitches so that I can incorporate my blue yarn. So just single crochet 1 around for 17 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, so I've just single crocheted 17 stitches, and now I'm going to take my light blue yarn, and I'm just going to put the tail between my hook and my working yarn so that I can start to incorporate it so that I can change my color. So now I'm going to single crochet 18, 19, and then for 20 I'm going to pull my gray yarn through, then yarn over and pull through with my blue yarn. And I've just changed colors. So now I'm going to single crochet continuously around for another 2 rounds. So I'm going to single crochet 20. 1, 2, 3, and 20. All right, so I've just finished my 2 rounds of 10 and I am done. So I'm going to slip stitch and then pull a little bit of a tail because we're going to use this tail to sew it onto the body or onto the arm, which we will do later. So for now, what I like to do, I'm not going to sew it on yet, but what I like to do is I'm going to just take this arm and then pull it through through the sleeve, up through the sleeve. And you're going to pull it down, you know, right about until just the bottom part, which will be the hand, sticks out just a little bit. Just like this. Ooh, and I stretched out my arm a little bit, yeah. So there we go. They look like they're 2 different sizes right now, but one of them is a little stretched out. So let me just see if I can't. There we go, that's better. So I have my arms done. Okay, so now we're going to sew everything together, and the first thing I'm going to sew on are the arms. So I need to thread my big needle with my cream colored yarn. Okay, so you just take your, well actually before that, if you have any tails like I do, just thread your needle with the tail and weave the tail in somewhere first. Okay, so now I'm just gonna sew this tail on so that it connects the sleeve to the body. And then cut off any excess. There we go. So now I'm going to thread my cream colored yarn into my needle. And then you just take the arm and you can just eyeball it kind of where you think it should go. But first I'm going to take this yarn and I'm going to weave it up through the body a little bit first. That way it's nice and incorporated. And I'm going to stick my arm on right here. And then you just sew it on. And it doesn't really matter which stitch you use because the collar is going to cover this. Okay, and then we bring in our next arm, just kind of position it. And then, oopsies. And then sew it on. Now our arms are all sewed on. So now we're going to leave this tail here. We're not going to cut it off yet or anything, just leave it there. And now we're going to sew on the tie. So you can take this tail from the tie, thread it through your needle, just put the tie right in the middle. And then once your tie's all on, you can take it off, and I'm just gonna stuff this, and actually what I'm going to do, instead of stuffing it in, is I'm actually going to tack the bottom of the tie to the body too, because it's coming off a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, now that it's all secure at the top, I'm gonna kind of weave through on the bottom and then come out kind of towards the middle of the belly like this. And I'm gonna kind of lightly tack the tie in place so that it doesn't move around so much. And then I'm just going to weave these yarn tails into the body. Okay, so now I got the tie on. Actually, I can okay. And then if you have any loose ends from your skirt or anything like that, you can take this time to weave those in as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna sew the collar in place. And first I'm going to so just find your center right above your tie. And sew on your collar. It doesn't look very pretty right now, but once you're all done, it should look good. Okay. And if your tail's not long enough, you can always just take more of your light gray yarn and use that, which is what I have to do. Okay. So once you got that all on in place, you could take any extra tails or anything like that, stuff them in. Okay. Now it's time for the head. So take your cream colored tail and in the front find kind of your center and have it nice and centered, and kind of tack on the center to the front, that way it'll be centered. Okay. And then just go around. Sew it on. You may have to go around a couple times before it's like perfect or anything. And go through a bunch of times. That way you can really make sure that it's secure in place and it's not going to fall off. And then once you feel like it's nice and secure, you can just take your ends and weave it in. And cut it. And then just take the hair and kind of... So if your tie is still curving up like this, you can just take some super glue and just kind of glue it on in place. Same thing, if you notice that anything's getting crooked or anything like that, just take some super glue and stick it on where you want it to stay. And that's it, we are all done. We just zoom out a little bit. So here it is, our finished Hatsune Miku. All the way from the legs down. So as always, if you like this tutorial, please press the thumbs up button and subscribe. If you want to see more of the tutorials that I'm planning to do in the future or any other things that I've made, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, all those places. Go like my Facebook page, all that, and I will see you in the next tutorial.